Bring the left foot in between the hands and drop the right foot at an angle. Bringing the hands to the knees and then swooping the right arm up behind you and the left arm extends in front of you, reaching out into your warrior pose. Engaging in the core, really zipping in, letting the hip points cinch together, then dropping the hands back to the thigh and then the ground, bringing the left leg back, coming back in your down dog, then stepping the right foot in between the hands and dropping the back foot at an angle, bringing the hands to the thigh and then swooping the left arm overhead, reaching out, spreading the mat apart with your feet, keeping the core engaged strong, and revolving the chest towards the left side, dropping the hands to the knee and then bringing them to the ground, revolving the left foot to center and then bringing the right foot back, bending in the knees, shaking the head of any tension, and stepping the left foot in between the hands and revolving that right foot at an angle and then bringing the right hand to your hip, revolving the chest forward and coming into your triangle pose, looking towards the sky and bringing that right hand up, stretching long, engaging in the core, keeping tight, strong, or in rhythm and breath. Bringing the right hand back towards the ground and coming back into your down dog. Stepping the right foot in between the hands, drop the left foot at an angle. Bringing the left hand to the left hip and extending the right leg. Bringing the left hand up towards the sky, keeping the chest open and the core engaged, keeping the spine nice and safe. A nice breath rhythm. Drop the left hand back towards the ground, center the left foot, and then bring the right leg back. Bending the right knee, kiss the left right elbow, and then kick the leg straight back behind you. Without dropping the leg, continue to kiss the left and right elbow again. Let's try one more time. Extending the right leg back, then releasing to the ground. Bending in the left knee, kissing the right and left elbow, extending back. Repeating again. Then one more time. Then releasing towards the ground. Coming to prepare for our side plank, we're going to start on our left side. So sit on your left hip and stretch your legs out long. Bring your left hand underneath underneath your shoulder. And find a comfortable position for your feet, bringing your right hand to your hip, pressing the hips up towards the sky, cinching the hip points together and stretching the arm out long. You can find another spot for your feet by bending the knee or placing them in front of each other or stacking them. Bringing the hand down to the ground and dropping the knees and pressing the seat back for a child's pose. Just to rest for a moment as we prepare for the next side. Dropping the right hip to the ground, extending the legs long, bringing the hand underneath the shoulder, pressing the hips up towards the sky and bringing the left hand onto the hip, releasing the hand up towards the sky, stretching long, engaging the core, keeping a strong breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And dropping the hand down to the ground, dropping the knees, and coming back into our child's pose. Taking nice deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. We're going to bring our knees at an angle and scoop under your knees with your palms and try to come to your tippy toes. Keeping the core engaged, play around with balancing on each foot. Bringing the right foot up, bringing the left foot up, and dropping each toe to the ground. Keeping the core engaged and maybe bringing both of them just floating off the ground a couple times. and then coming up into the full expression, keeping the core engaged. Or maybe bringing the hands out to the side for a little bit more of a challenge. Or maybe you want to go the extra mile and extend the legs long, keeping engaged in the core. And dropping the feet to the ground. Coming into a tabletop position, inhale, letting the belly drop, or a cat. Letting the spine roll, stretching up towards the ceiling, pressing through the arms for a cow position. Inhaling, letting the belly drop and the head rise for the cat. And exhaling, letting the spine roll, pressing up towards the sky, pressing through the arms, stretch, letting the head drop. Inhaling, letting the stomach drop, letting the head rise. Exhaling, letting the back roll and stretching through the arms, and then coming into a neutral position. Into our down dogs, and then stepping forward towards the top of our mat, bending the knees and reaching the arms out in front of you, engaging the core and sitting back for your chair pose, spreading the feet apart from each other. Breathing through the nose and exhaling through the nose and keeping the core engaged. Dropping the hands back to the floor and raising the seat towards the sky. Come into your supported child's pose, grabbing it opposite elbows, swaying the weight back and forth. Bend the knees again, sit back in your chair, reach the arms out in front of you, engaging the core. And dropping the hands back down for a forward fold. Coming up slightly, and then dropping back down, and then rising up. Starting at the top of your mat, roll the shoulders up towards the ears and down the spine, keeping a neutral position in the pelvis, taking nice deep breaths, letting a bend come into the knees, bringing the hands to the thighs and letting them come to the floor, raising the seat towards the sky, and bringing the legs back to the middle of your mat to come into your down dog. Breathing into the back body, letting the shoulder blades slide across the back like wings, bringing a deeper bend into the knees and rocking them back and forth. Coming back onto our tabletop pose again, hands under the shoulders, knees under the pelvis. Bringing the left leg behind you and the right arm up, getting ready for our balancing pose, and then letting the knee and the elbow kiss, keeping engaged in the core. We're going to do a couple of these. Inhale and exhale, kissing the knee and the elbow together. Inhale and exhale, kissing the knee and the elbow together. And then one more time, and dropping to the ground. Bringing the left arm up and the right foot behind you, lifting them up, stretching long, and then letting the right knee and the left elbow kiss, engaging in the core. Inhaling out and exhaling, letting the knee and the elbow kiss. And then one more time, and then dropping to the ground, pressing back into your child's pose. Breathing into the back body, releasing any stress and tension. We're going to come into our eagle pose now. Stack your right elbow over top of your left and wrap the arms. This is the view from the side. Shifting the weight into your right leg. Start to bend in that right knee and lift the left knee over top of your right leg and wrap the foot around the back. Engage in the core and hinging at the hips to come in deeper into your eagle pose. Breathing strong through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And then coming back up to standing. Repeat on the opposite side, so the left elbow stacks over top of the right elbow and the hands wrap. Shifting the weight into the left leg. Bending in the knee slightly, coming onto the tippy toes, and then wrapping that right leg over top of the left leg. Hinging at the hips slightly, keeping the core engaged. Breathing. Remembering to breathe and keeping the core engaged. Then coming back up to standing. Bending the right knee, kiss the left and right elbow. And repeat it again, engaging in the core. And we're going to repeat this on the other side. Bending the left knee, kissing the right then left elbows. Keeping the core engaged. Coming down onto your stomach to prepare for your forearm plank. We're going to grasp our hands together to make a fist. So engage in the core, bringing the hip points together and raising the pelvis up to the sky. Pressing the elbows away from each other to gain strength in your back. And then bringing the hips down to the ground. Curling the toes under, engaging in the core and pressing the hips up towards the sky. Spreading the elbows away from each other. Just breathing, holding your forearm plank, and dropping down onto your belly. Releasing your head to either side and breathing into your back body. The plank can be challenging for some people, so just listen to your body so that you don't hurt yourself. Bringing the left leg behind you to balance. Engage the core and raise the left leg. Keeping straight and strong and lifting a couple times. Keeping the core engaged and dropping the knee back to the ground. Bring the right leg behind you. Engaging the core and raising the right leg, pulsating. Keeping strong, zipping the hip points together, and then dropping the knee back to the ground. We're going to do a balancing pose. Stretching the left leg behind you. Find a balance on the left and right leg. And stretching the right arm in front of you, keeping the core engaged. Holding this posture for a moment, keeping strong in your breath. And lifting that back leg up high as you can. Keeping strong in the breath and releasing back to the ground. And repeat on this other side. Stretch the right leg behind you, keeping balance on the left leg and the right arm and stretching the left arm in front of you, keeping the core engaged. Raising that right leg up as far as it can go, keeping strong in the breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Each breath is longer than the last. And then releasing to the ground. And sitting the seat back into a child's pose. Breathing into the back body. Releasing any tension from the previous movements. Let's come to lying on our back. Bring the feet close to the pelvis. And relax the shoulders down onto the ground. As we prepare for our bridge pose, drop the hands to the ground. Bring the shoulders underneath you. Engage in the core and press the hips up towards the sky. Inhaling through the nose, pressing up high, letting the knees come together instead of splaying apart, and dropping the pelvis back towards the ground. We're going to do this a couple more times. So we'll cinch the hip points together and press in through the feet, raising the pelvis towards the sky. letting the shoulder blades be behind you. Feeling a difference in your body. Pressing up towards the sky one more time through the feet, engaging in the glutes, keeping the core engaged and breathing through the nose, and dropping the pelvis back towards the ground. Bringing the left leg behind you to balance. Engage the core and raise the left leg. Keeping straight and strong and lifting a couple times. Keeping the core engaged and dropping the knee back to the ground. Bring the right leg behind you. Engaging the core and raising the right leg, pulsating. Keeping strong, zipping the hip points together, and then dropping the knee back to the ground. And finally, resting in our constructive rest pose, keeping the knees bent, the hands on the belly, inhaling through the nose and exhaling, even deep, longer breaths. Thank you for joining us today. Namaste.